Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about what we've been doing in data central and more broadly the optical data center to enable ASTRO 3D science. And we're supported by AAL. And while most of the work here is I'm presenting is done at Macquarie University, we also have links with ANU and NCI and the SkyMapper project there. And of course, all of this is NCRIS funded. So the optical data center is a collaboration between Data Central and SkyMapper, and it fits in, it's part of the ASTRO 3D data intensive astronomy group. Here just to give you an overview of the landscape and how everything fits in. So we're a team that has changed. We've got some core members here. The bold names are the people who are currently working in Data Central in some way or another, and sort of the slightly pinkish colors, I don't know if you can actually see that, are people at ANU and MCI. So we're quite looks like quite a large group, but there's actually quite a small core of people working on the project. So our main goals are to save the data that are taken in all the various surveys, and also we are interested in simulations as well, so not just observations, and also to help teams manage their data and from basically the full data lifecycle. And we can see a lot of the surveys here on the right that are linked in with ASTRO 3D, some of which we've heard about already this week. And I'd just like to highlight that this last point here, one of the things that has been really useful through Data Central has been the private team data access, and for the SAMI data release 3, it was especially useful for refereeing papers. The SAMI team were able to set up an account that could access the SAMI data release 3 data before it was made public, and then send that to the referee, and so they could actually investigate and have a look at the data before it was made public. So coming up in terms of data, we have Gamma Data Release 4, which is not directly linked, but there's a talk this afternoon I noticed on Gamma. So Gamma Data Release 4 will be released through Data Central and at gammasurvey.org, and it will include a segment viewer, which is basically just a way to identify what parts of a galaxy in particular are used for various calculations. So this is something that we'll be implementing in collaboration with the Gamma team and Simon Driver, etc. at ICRA. So there'll be new spectra, new catalogs, and updated imaging. That's 22 band imaging for Gamma. And most recently we've been helping the Hector team in starting to prepare for the Hector survey. And so here we have a target list helper or target list app that we've been working on that basically just allows you to supply a list of objects. These are actually static PNGs, but we also have dynamically generated thumbnails as well, and then just go through and flag any issues that you might see with the targets, particularly bright stars, nearby galaxies, mergers, etc. And then you can just sort of flag these objects so that they get observed, or that they don't get observed, or if they do, any issues are known in advance. And then so it's quite a simple app, but it's I think going to be very useful for the Hector team, and you can already see the two sizes of Hector bundles. They're small and large, overlaid as the yellow dashed circles. Other areas that we've been supporting ASTRO 3D have been in Gala. So there's a link down the bottom there to some Python scripts that will allow you to build an interactive Gala Data Release 3 spectrum viewer. And just as an example here, this is what you would see building this script. So when you click on a particular star, you see the spectrum on the right. So you have a log G and T effective diagram here with a color scale for metallicity. And so the object here is obviously very, very metal poor. But you can click on it. There are other objects that are closer to solar metallicity. So this is just some of the various things that we're providing. These are using the various AIs and virtual observatory services that that we've built into Data Central. Next up, we have a very new service. This is something that was actually implemented for a fast radio burst team called Craft, which was led by JP Marquardt and is now managed by Stuart Ryder and one of his students, Lachlan Marnock. And so basically, it allows you to inspect all of a huge amount of data for a different particular object that you might be interested in. This is a single object in this case, but it allows you to, automatically loads in catalogs from a whole lot of different sources using virtual observatory tools and APIs. It also can load in images. We plan to integrate spectra into this system as well, and then you can type in your object and resolve the name, and then go and do that. So here's one that I prepared earlier. This is this object here is pretty inconsequential looking object, is ESO 65-1. It's got a whole bunch of data in this field. There's quite a lot of stars and other galaxies as well. But one of the things that you can also do with the data aggregation service is overlay radio data. So this is SkyMapper GRI, SkyMapper GRI color image, but you can also overlay radio data. For example, this is the RAX data here. So you see that this rather nondescript galaxy is actually a really cool looking radio galaxy with jets shooting out of it, and some lobes there as well. So you can load in. You can see here on the right hand side all the different catalogs. You can actually load in Vizier tables as well, and it will go and search throughout the virtual observatory to see if there are any other images of the field that you're interested in, and it goes and gets a whole lot, including SkyMapper, DECCAM, Gemini, and ESO imaging that might be available as well, and does a very quick look reduction to show you those images. So in some of the other things that we've been working on have been more around sort of helping teams manage access to data and access to the various services that we provide, as well as the services themselves. So we have a portal that allows teams, and these are all the different teams that are currently using it, many of which are in ASTRO 3D, and basically you can get mailing lists, provide access to data and services just through simple access control groups. We also have a document content management system, so that when you're doing a data release, or if you have things to talk about your data, then you can curate the documentation for that yourself. And so that means that it sort of is a more efficient way for teams to do this. So log in, Gala in particular, and SAMI have been using these systems quite heavily. And it does allow you to have private articles, sort of an internal access system for teams. We also have a cloud service. It's quite a simple idea, but it's been very, very useful for a lot of teams, most notably Devils and Magpie. Their data comes in from various telescopes, whether it's the AAT or VLT, comes into the cloud and then can be processed in various ways. Devils pulls their data over to ICRA to do data processing and reduction, but Magpie does their reduction on some of our systems, which I'll come to in a second. And just most recently, GasCap Joe Dawson at Macquarie has started using these services for some GasCap data. Also, other systems are things like Huntsman, GleamX, the MWA survey, and Veloce uses this system quite heavily, and there are many terabytes of data flowing through all the time for these systems. Okay, thank you. So just coming up to the end here, we're also providing compute, moderate size compute, so not HPC, but basically if you need systems where you need to process large data sets of up to 512 gigabytes, that's not something you can obviously do on a laptop or a workstation. So we've been supporting the Macquarie team in particular in running their Muse pipeline, the ASTRO Muse pipeline on their data, because it's quite a large volume of data, and that's I think going pretty well. We're also, once again, this is where we've just started supporting Jo Dawson to look at some of her gas cap data. Future steps, many more data sets to come in, including there's, as I said, more links with SkyMapper, the Devils team, Gamma, Magpie, Gleamex, also deeper, wider, faster, and down the line we'll be working with ADAX and Swinburne to provide access for Australian users of LSST data. We also plan to match not just the observational data that I've been mainly referring to, but also link with theory and simulation data. So that will be, the pilot will be for some of the simulations in Magpie, and we're also looking at closer integration with Tau as well. And in very soon we'll be hiring, they'll be advertising 2 data-focused ASTRO 3D postdocs. So if you want to know more, we're planning a workshop towards the end of November. We can help manage your data. We can provide anything from just simple advice to storage and, as I said, moderate compute. And if you have data that needs a home, and it could be, doesn't have to be observational data, it could be simulation data that links to some of the ASTRO 3D surveys that we already host, then please contact us. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Simon, for introducing these super useful tools and information. And is there any question for Simon? Let's see. There are some questions on Slack. So the first question from Lisa is, let's see, one of the goals of the ASTRO 3D is to have linked archival lists with Dingo, Flash, and Wallaby, as well as Genesis mock simulations. So what are the plans to incorporate those?
That's a great question. We're currently working with Karen Lee Waddell at AusSRC to come up with ways that we can integrate with the data that they're managing, which is Wallaby, Emu, and Dingo, I think, at the moment. So that's in early stages, but we're planning to use particularly things like the data aggregation service, planning to build that into the Emu data analysis pipeline, so that you can get as much data as you need as part of the reduction and processing pipeline. So that's one aspect, and we do plan on tighter integration with Tau. That's still to be developed in the next 12 months. It's not on the roadmap, but I'm hoping that will be for the next financial year, because we work on financial years.
Good, thank you. So there are more questions, but due to the time limit, I think we should move on. So please continue your discussion on the Slack.